You've heard of ISIS, you've heard of Al-Qaeda. But what if I told you the most dangerous terrorist threats in America didn't come from overseas, but from your neighbor's church, your local radio station, or even a so-called patriot militia just down the road? Welcome to a hidden war, a war waged not in deserts or caves, but in suburbs, small towns, and even quiet rural churches. This is the story of America's most dangerous domestic extremist groups, operating under the banner of religion, nationalism, and ideology. Let's begin with one of the most notorious groups on this list, the Our Army of God. Founded in the 1980s, this radical anti-abortion network believes that violence is justified to stop what they see as murder. They've bombed clinics, torched buildings, and even killed doctors. One of their most infamous members, Paul Hill, shot and killed a doctor and his bodyguard in Florida, and then proudly defended the act on national television. He didn't hide in shame. He went on ABC's Nightline and said that what he did was righteous. Other members of the Army of God mailed anthrax threats and firebombed clinics across the country. And while some killers denied formal membership, the group often endorsed their crimes. To them, killing a doctor was saving babies. Then there's Alpha 66 Ikren Omega 7. Names that sound more like sci-fi movies than what they really were. Violent Cuban exile groups based in the United States. In the 1970s and 1980s, as diplomacy between the U.S. and Cuba began to thaw, these groups turned Miami into a battlefield. Their targets? Not just Cuban officials, but anyone who advocated peace. Luciano Nieves was assassinated for wanting peaceful coexistence. Emilio Milian, a radio host, condemned the violence on air, only to have his legs blown off by a car bomb. These were not foreign attacks. These were Americans, on American soil, killing other Americans over ideology. Human Rights Watch even warned that moderation in Miami had become a dangerous position. Speak peace, and you might get silenced with bullets or bombs. Now shift focus to the Aryan Nations, a name synonymous with white supremacy and religious hate. Founded in the 1970s by Richard Gerndt Butler, this group combined neo-Nazism with a warped version of Christianity known as Christian identity. They believed that white people were the true Israelites and everyone else subhuman. The FBI labeled them a terrorist threat. RAND called them the first truly national terrorist network in the U.S. Members of Aryan Nations have been linked to assassinations, robberies, and attempts to overthrow the U.S. government. And though their compound in Idaho was eventually shut down, their ideology didn't die, it spread. Which brings us to perhaps the most chilling group of the digital age, Atomwaffen Division. Born in the online forums of hate, Atomwaffen is a neo-Nazi group based in Florida, but with tentacles reaching across 23 U.S. states and even into Europe and Canada. Their ideology? A mix of Nazi occultism, race war fantasies, and militant accelerationism. Their Bible is a book called Siege, written by convicted neo-Nazi James Mason. Their members? Trained for violence. Atomwaffen has been linked to at least 8 murders, including the brutal stabbing of Blaise Bernstein, a gay Jewish student in California. 2 other members killed their own roommate after fearing he'd expose them. The group thrives in the shadows of the internet, radicalizing lonely young men into soldiers for hate. But not all extremism is high-tech. Some of it is old school and deeply religious. Take the covenant, the sword, and the arm of the Lord. Or CSA, formed in Missouri in 1971, this group fused Christian identity with survivalist militia tactics. They trained with weapons, plotted assassinations, and dreamed of overthrowing the government. One of their members, Richard Wayne Snell, murdered a pawn shop owner and a state trooper. The group eventually fell after a dramatic siege by the FBI and ATF in 1985, but their ideas, anti-government, racially pure, Christian, militant, have lived on in newer militia movements, and extremism isn't confined to the far right. Enter the QL, or Earth Liberation Front, or ELF. Labeled a top domestic terror threat by the FBI in the 2000s, ELF used arson, sabotage, and vandalism to attack what they called eco-terror targets. From SUV dealerships to construction sites, they caused millions in damages. One member, William Cottrell, helped torch over 120 SUVs in California. Another, Michael Scarpiti, waged a personal war against fast food chains and development projects. While their violence didn't target people directly, their fires did and could kill. Then there's a twist most people never expect: Jewish extremism, the Jewish Defense League. Founded in 1968 by Rabbi Meir Kahane, was initially a reaction to rising anti-Semitism, but it quickly turned militant. From 1980 to 1985, FBI data shows that JDL members attempted 15 terrorist attacks in the U.S. They bombed offices, plotted assassinations, and targeted not only neo-Nazis, but even moderate Jewish voices who disagreed with their extremism. The FBI has since labeled them a terrorist group. Their founder, Meir Kahane, would later form a banned far-right party in Israel. The legacy of violence crossed borders. So what ties all of this together? It's not just ideology. It's not just hate. It's the belief that violence is righteous, that killing is justified if it serves a higher purpose, whether that purpose is God, race, homeland, or planet. And while some of these groups have collapsed or gone underground, many still operate. Others have morphed into new forms: online networks, Telegram chats, encrypted forums, lone wolf radicals. The names may change. The mission rarely does. We're living in an age where extremism isn't just imported, it's homegrown. It's not always foreign-sounding names or foreign-looking faces. Sometimes it wears a cross. Sometimes it wears a yarmulke. Sometimes it hugs a tree. And sometimes it just looks like us. Extremism comes in many colors, many flags, many faiths. But the violence? It always looks the same. And as this quiet war continues, one question remains. Will we recognize the next extremist? Not when they're on the news, but when they're in our neighborhood? If you found this eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because next time, we're diving even deeper into the extremist networks you never hear about, but should. Stay aware, stay safe, and stay tuned.